So, President Donald Trump and his wife, Melania Trump, are both tested positive for COVID-19. This just in. And so, this article I will do the pleasure of reading. President Trump says that he and his First Lady have tested positive for COVID-19, and he said this himself. So you can see him here. And so this just in. So this is by a Hunter Walker, White House correspondent. This is out of Washington. President Trump announced early on Friday morning that he and his wife, Melania Trump, have tested positive for COVID-19 tonight at FLOTUS. And I tested positive for COVID-19. This is Donald Trump talking. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together, Trump wrote. Trump made the announcement about 2 hours after he said that he and his wife were waiting for the test results. So following the news that Hope Hicks, a top White House aide with whom they had recently traveled by Air Force One, had tested positive. So Hope Hicks, who has been working so hard without even taking a small break, has just also tested positive for COVID-19, Trump wrote. Terrible. The First Lady and I are waiting for her test results, so they already know what they are. So this must have been just before they found out the results. Excuse me. It's morning, so I clear my throat. So in the meantime, we will begin our quarantine process. Now, I heard this last night that he was to begin quarantine because he was next to the top aide, one of the aides, and that aide tested positive, which is Hope Hicks. So the White House did not immediately respond for requests for the comment about the total number of people in the president's inner circle and the staff who may also have been infected with the disease. So which, as of Friday morning, has killed at least 207,789 Americans have perished to COVID-19. A spokesperson for Vice President Mike Pence did not immediately respond to requests for the comment about whether he had also tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. So what they have to do is they have to locate all of the people that they have been in contact with more recently, and all the people that Hope Hicks, Melania Trump have been in contact with, to also test and quarantine. So at 74 years of age, Donald Trump is at a high risk, an increased risk in terms of age for serious complications from COVID-19, the disease caused by coronavirus. His testing positive could also have major implications for the presidential election, which is just 32 days away. Especially if he has to be quarantined, he can't go to debates, and he can't be around or expose people to the deadly disease. So Trump's doctor, Sean Conley, said in a statement that the president and the first lady are both well at this time that they know of, and they plan to remain at home within the White House during their convalescence. So Trump, who trails former Vice President Joe Biden in most national and key swing state polls, had planned numerous campaign events in the coming days. Now, from what I've known Most of his events, he doesn't always have a mask on. Rarely does he wear a mask. He exposes himself around a lot of people, and he has been around other people who have, in the past, come in contact with COVID-19. And some supporters who have attended his rallies have also been unmasked. And there have been some people who have contracted COVID-19 from those rallies. As far as that I've known, some people that have been heavy Trump supporters and they have died just from attending those rallies. So sickness or a lethargy quarantine could prevent Trump from attending the next scheduled debate with Joe Biden on October 15th or from campaigning in the final stretch. Shortly after Trump announcements, the First Lady sent out her own tweet. As too many Americans have done this year at POTUS, and I are quarantining at home, people of the U.S. They're quarantining after testing positive for COVID-19, both Donald Trump and Melania Trump. She wrote, so we are feeling good, and I have postponed all upcoming engagements. So please be sure that you are staying safe and that we all will get through it together. The First Lady did not respond also for the request for comment as well. So only 3 world leaders are known to have tested positive for COVID-19. Trump, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and the Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, all of whom initially underestimated this threat of COVID-19, the virus, that has killed multiple people, and we're past 6 million in global terms. So, of people that have contracted it. So, in recorded interviews with journalist Bob Woodward, Trump admitted that he did not want to overplay the threat of COVID-19 to the American people. So I wanted to always play it down, Trump told Woodward in March. I still like playing it down because I don't want to create a panic. Too late, people are panicked because many people have perished from this deadly disease. For some, it's deadly. For others, it's a struggle. And for others, it's a huge setback. For others, it may be losing a business or losing a job. So during the pandemic, the president has continued to travel and hold some large events around the country, many in violation of the local social distancing regulations. So at these events, the president and the staff regularly appear without masks. Although supporters are regularly offered face coverings, Trump has also held events at the White House where few people have been masked and seen without masks. Excuse me. So lax social distancing protocols are the norm. For example, at his nominee to the Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett, who is replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg. They were seen before a large crowd. Now, this woman was also in close proximity of Donald Trump. She also may need to quarantine, test and quarantine. It's a possibility. So Hicks, who did not respond to the request for comment, is one of the president's closest aides and who has traveled with him on many occasions. So she served as his spokesperson throughout the 2016 campaign before going on to work in the White House, according to Bloomberg, which has first to report Hicks' positive COVID-19 test. She experienced the symptoms of COVID-19 on Wednesday night on the plane returning from Trump's rally in Duluth, Minnesota, and subsequently tested positive on Thursday. So Hicks also traveled with Trump to the presidential debate in Cleveland on Tuesday as well. And so although Hicks displayed symptoms on Wednesday evening, Trump flew to his golf club in New Jersey on Thursday and held multiple events following Hicks' diagnoses. So he already knew about Hicks' diagnoses, and he went to his golf club in New Jersey on Thursday and held multiple events. So Trump has been scheduled to hold a roundtable at his hotel in Washington, D.C., and a rally in Florida on Friday. Shortly after Trump announced his test results, the White House released updated guidance indicating that those events would be canceled immediately now. So Trump and his staff reportedly did not wear masks at the debate venue. Biden, his aides, did wear masks at the event. Good job. Hopefully you don't come up with it. Though the former vice president appeared without a mask on stage with Trump, so that could be questionable. So the pair did not shake hands, and they stayed some social distance apart, which may be in his favor, as dictated by protocols put in place by the Cleveland Clinic, which co-hosted the event. So in the wake of the news about Hicks, Biden's campaign reportedly asked a member of the media who was scheduled to travel with him on Friday not to join the press pool because the reporter in the question had traveled to Minnesota on board of Air Force One with Trump and Hicks. The Biden campaign did not immediately respond for the request for comment about Trump's diagnoses. So the debate staged Tuesday, Trump mocked Biden for wearing the mask. He probably should not have done that. He himself should have worn a mask. Many of these events he's been holding have been against the protocols of safety. There's no mask wearing and no social distancing until now. Him and his wife have possibly exposed others and come up with COVID. They have in fact tested positive for COVID-19. And so every time you see him, he's got a mask, Trump said, as Biden laughed because Trump was mocking Biden. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it, and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. So, not funny at all. None of it is. It's a serious disease. Many people have gotten sick. Many people have lost businesses and jobs. Many people are struggling even till this day with this COVID-19. It has altered the quality of life as we know it. A lot of people cannot do the things that they used to do without the worry that they could possibly be exposed to this deadly disease. So having said that, I'm going to let this video go. Both the president, once again, and his wife have now tested positive for COVID-19. Thanks for listening.